Welcome back. Thank you for deciding to open your ears to my what I think is ugly voice and deciding to spend a little bit of your time on this fine Tuesday morning to me and Tuesday night to you. As you know, I've been keeping up with the football happenings in the playoffs and just other stuff that's been going on in the football world, usually just the playoffs and the Bills up until the point they were knocked out, unfortunately. Just a quick recap of the weekend I wanted to do, give my predictions for the Super Bowl. I'll talk about the Chiefs-Titans game first. That game, it was the better of the two games, in my opinion. I definitely think the Titans could have won that game. They were running the rock really, really well throughout the first and second quarter. And then at the end of the first half, they kind of got stymied on that last drive they had before the first half ended. And that was basically the game. The only way they were going to win that game is if they kept Derrick Henry on the field, kept Patrick Mahomes off the field. They were going to have to pound the rock, and just waste the clock and score in the process. Once they went 3-and-out on the end of the first half, went 3-and-out, and then I think off the top of my head, I think the Chiefs did score on the drive right after that. I might be wrong, but regardless, I knew just at that point the Titans were not going to be able to play from behind or play in a tighter game because they couldn't run the ball as much. They're a much better team when they're playing in front or they're in the game where Derrick Henry can just pretty much run wild and run all over the freaking place. I mean, Derrick Henry was doing really well in the beginning of the first half. He was just running all over the Chiefs just as he has been against every other opponent they faced this season. And it just kind of surprised me how well the Chiefs just kind of stiffened up, and then all of a sudden they made that team one-dimensional, and Derrick Henry's knocked out of the equation. And they're just not a good passing team when the other team knows they have to pass. They're good in the play-action game because everybody's awfully terrified of Derrick Henry, but when they have to pass in a passing situation, Tannehill is not your guy. If you're a Chiefs fan or even like a regular fan just watching the game, it was a pretty exciting game to see Pat Mahomes do his thing as he has been throughout this entire playoffs. They start off slow for some reason. It's really weird that they kind of start off slow and then all of a sudden it's just a bang, and all of a sudden the Chiefs are smacking you down your throat and you're all of a sudden down by 13 points, freaking 21 points, giving up 41 straight like the Texans did because they're awful. Nevertheless, that team is exciting to watch. I did want the Titans to win. If you watched my last week's video, as you know, I wanted the Titans to win and even go to the Super Bowl and win. I mean, it is what it is. I'm very bad when it comes to picking Super Bowl winners. I have a poor track record. Last year, I got like 4 straight wrong. I wanted the Bears at first, and then a couple more I picked that got knocked out right after. But yeah, with the first game, it was pretty much both games seemed to be over by the end of the first half, in my opinion. At the end of the first half of the Titans-Chiefs game, it's just like once you knew that they stopped the run after that drive at the end of the first half, it's like this game's over. They're not going to be able to score and keep up with this Chiefs offense now, and the Titans defense couldn't stop the Chiefs onslaught for much longer, and they just basically started to pour it on. Derrick Henry got taken out of the equation, and that was your ball game. As far as the other game goes, boy, was that awful. Like I said, if you watched my video last week as well, I said that the Packers stood no chance. They really didn't, and the Seahawks were the only team that could beat the 49ers, as we've seen in the regular season. And they played, 2 or 3 times, and I think the Seahawks, they played twice, and this would have been the third matchup. I'm not too sure. But I know the Seahawks did beat them once, and the one time that the Chiefs beat them, Jacob Hollister was stopped in like the half-yard line by Greenlaw, their linebacker, the 49ers linebacker. And if he would have got that half yard, the Seahawks would have beaten them twice in the season. And I think they would have given them a very good game in the playoffs and maybe even won. Whereas the Packers, they shit the bed as we saw earlier in the regular season. If you have any sort of football sense, it was pretty obvious that was going to happen. I mean, the Packers' weakness on defense is most definitely stopping the run, and the strength of the 49ers offense is the run. And Raheem Mostert's running like the best running back in the NFL. Like, this guy's finding holes. Like, obviously the holes he has from Kittle, Juszczyk, and the line are humongous. Like, I can run through them. But even when he's got to break a couple tackles, the man is fast as hell, and he's going right around any secondary guys he's got to go around, and he's making plays. So, like, I knew the Packers defense was just not going to be able to keep up with that. And even when Jimmy G had to pass, they couldn't even stop that. So it's like, what's even the point? I think Aaron Rodgers kind of was a little nervous and uncomfortable back there once they realized they're not going to be able to use Aaron Jones really at all in the run game. And I think he was just uncomfortable and kind of almost not scared, but he was always looking over his shoulder, and I think that was taking his focus off looking for reads down the field because he always knew Nick Bosa or DeForest Buckner was going to be up his asshole. The strength of the Packers this season has been Aaron Jones and his run game and allowing Aaron Rodgers to open up the field when other teams have to fear for Aaron Jones because Mike McCarthy just didn't use him for some reason. And now Aaron Rodgers was not able to use Aaron Jones and take advantage of that, and they basically just shut him down. That game sucked ass. Now, as much as this weekend sucked, I am so damn happy that I don't have to hear the State Farm Bowl or like that it's rigged, because Super Bowl I was between the Packers and the Chiefs, and like everybody was saying how it's going to be rigged and they're going to have both teams in it this year for the 100th season and all this bullshit. It's like, can you stop? Like, you actually think the Packers are going to win that game? Like, you have to be dumb. I saw a couple calls, although, in the Titans-Chiefs game, and I was watching it, I'm like, that's a little skeptical. Like, there was one play that Pat McAfee posted. I'll post it up here on the screen. And this ref literally pulled the flag before the play even, like, the play started, and this dude's pulling the flag and calling, like, illegal hands to the face or holding or some bullshit. So, like, this dude did not wait a half a second. He threw that flag so fast. And that was one play that had me a little skeptical. But besides for that, I mean, the Chiefs were supposed to win that game anyway, so that wasn't a big deal. The other game, obviously, we know how that went, and it wasn't rigged. Like, all these idiots saying it's rigged. It's fucking not rigged. Stop being an idiot. As far as Super Bowl predictions go, it's really tough. I mean, this is a matchup that I guess people have been really waiting to see. I guess we had to sacrifice AFC and NFC championship games to be able to see this matchup, which I guess is okay with me. But this is top-tier offense, best offense we've seen in a long time against probably one of the best defenses we've seen in a long time. I think it's going to be a really damn good game. I think my early pick will have to be the 49ers because I think their offense has the capability of putting up points, but their defense is also just star-studded, and I think Pat Mahomes might be slowed down just enough to the point where their offense is able to score enough points and squeak them out with a win. But I also think that the Chiefs' offense is just so high-powered, it's so hard to tell. We don't know it's just so hard to predict what's going to happen. But I do think the run game of the 49ers will be able to wear down the Packers enough, and I think they'll have a similar game plan to the Titans. And it's basically keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, and you're going to win the game. Shoot the clock, score some points with the run game, and you're going to win if you keep him off the field. It's the bottom line. One thing I think we will see, though, that we haven't seen before is Patrick Mahomes being on the ground a lot more than he's used to. This past game against the Titans, he had that pretty crazy run, and I don't want to take that away from him, but I think players are a little bit afraid of hitting the quarterbacks nowadays, and I think that's pretty self-explanatory because there's so many penalties that you can get for hitting a quarterback. It's actually unbelievable. So I think guys are a little afraid to hit him, kind of letting up, and I think that's why that happened. I think we'll see him on the ground a lot more. I don't think the 49ers are going to let up. I don't think they're going to be nice like that. They're going to be in the backfield, in his face a lot, and Patrick Mahomes is going to have to pull off some insane throws if they want to win this game. Final scoreline, I'll say, off the top of my head, I'm going to give it 41-28 will be my final scoreline. I think it'll be a big game from Raheem again. Big Raheem game, big Matt Breida game. Tevin Singletary, Jesus. Tevin Coleman dislocated his shoulder, so he's done. But big game for them, too. And then George Kittle, always a factor. Always will be a factor, whether it's blocking or receiving. I think he'll have a big game blocking as well. Or receiving, rather. And for the Chiefs, obviously, Patrick Mahomes, he's always an X factor. But Tyreek Hill, I think he's always obviously another X factor. I mean, it's so easy to say there's so many weapons on that offense. But I think Tyreek Hill will always be looked at, and they'll always have to be watching him. So I think the middle of the field will be open more. Maybe Mecole Hardman will see a lot more. I think Travis Kelce will have another big game. So I think that'll be the big name players for them, and that'll be the scoreline. 41-28 is my final scoreline in favor of the 49ers. Thank you for watching again. I appreciate you spending a little bit of time on your Tuesday night. Now, I think that'll be it. That's my final scoreline. I appreciate you opening your ears to my predictions on this fine Tuesday evening. I appreciate you stopping by. If you want to leave a like and subscribe rating, I'd appreciate it. I plan on making a couple videos in the future. I don't want to milk the playoffs too much, so once that dies down, I'll be able to talk about maybe free agency signings, whether it's for the Bills or for other teams, and whatever else goes on in the NFL world, because there's always something going on when it comes to sports. There's enough idiots to the point where there's something always going on. Antonio Brown, for example. So there's always that I could talk about, but I'll figure it out. But once again, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you listening to my little prediction video, and I'll see you later. Blah.